Hi, I'm Santino Carlo-Magno here with Valerian Axel, here to talk about the JROTC first place victory at Overbrook this past week. So how you guys doing today?
I'm good, thank you.
So first place, that's a big deal. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Well, in these competitions, we go to the hosting school and we compete against other JROTC programs and different events, which usually consist, well, this one only consisted of the squads and the color guards.
Yeah, this is a smaller competition, so we do unarmed squads and armed squads, and it's kind of small, a little easier. Okay, sorry.
We use this competition more of like a stepping stone to see, for like newer people to see how these competitions work. It doesn't really count. It counts more for just our like bragging rights, not really to place us in like brigades or anything like that.
So was that Overbrook? Does that mean that they were part of the competition too, or were they just the hosting school?
No, Overbrook competes as well, and they're just the hosting school as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So like, I see you guys practicing after school. You guys put a lot of work into it. Can you tell me a little about like the work mentality that you guys put to these competitions?
Yeah, for drill we usually practice before school, so 1 hour before school. We get here at 6 a.m. and we finish just to start school. Sometimes we stay after school if there's like a competition coming up and we need to like fit some stuff and be a little sharper about it. We need more practice.
Yeah, most of our practice is before school. After school, we usually only practice color guards, which is only 4 people, so it's easy to get them together after school.
And in our practices, our sergeant is there, but usually it's like students teaching students, cadet teaching cadets, so it's all like between us, between the leaders.
Mm-hmm.
So like with these competitions, like what kind of activities do you guys do like in the competitions?
Well, like I mentioned, it's squads, which is usually just 6 people and the person commanding it. The 6 people, they have to all be in sync with each other. Their steps have to be the same. When it's the armed squad, their rifle movements have to be the same. And they have to be able to follow the orders that the person leading it is giving.
We have another little activity in there, so you know, like you learn like the right face-up movements. So we do like a little. It's not a game. It's a knockout. Knockout, yes. And you compete like against all the people who's in the competition. So all the schools can go like up front, and there's one sergeant commanding, like doing the commands, and some other sergeants are.
They're inspecting you to make sure you're doing it correctly.
Yeah, and whoever gets like first, second, and third place, they get like a little medal or recognized because they're like the best ones at moves and everything.
So like what's like the competition atmosphere like? Is it like real like competitive, or is it like kind of like a family thing when you're all like friends talking to each other, just seeing what your school and program's like?
Well, between us, it's a family thing. We usually just, when we're not first, we like look at the other schools, make sure like what they're doing, how they're doing it to perfect us. And between other schools, sometimes it's like friendly, but then like in the higher ups, like brigades, then right there, they start getting a little hostile for some reason.
Yeah, we do have our fights. Like we sometimes don't really agree on what we're doing between the leaders or between the cadets. But yeah.
We try to avoid fighting in front of everybody else. We usually just pull each other to the side and talk it out when we do have any arguments about anything.
And like against other schools, like in here, like Old City or here from the area, I think like our only competition is a PMA, the school in Philly. But from there, I think we're good. We're the best.
Yeah.
So like can anybody be part of the team, or do you have to have like certain qualifications to be on the team?
Well, you show up in order to be considered for a team, you have to show up in the mornings in the practices, and you usually start with like they teach you everything, and if they see that you're somewhat good, they start putting you in like more advanced things. They usually start out with the platoon, which is more people. So if you mess up or you don't know any commands, it's not as noticeable, and then they put you in the squads where it's just like 6 of the best people you can have.
Yeah, it's usually, if you're not just, some people have it natural, some people are really good at it, like a drill, paying attention and being sharp, like they're just sharp. Some people are just, they can't, like they go with the same field army, they just can't march, they need more practice, but sometimes they just cannot make it for the most, like,
for like the more selective team, like the squads, more of people who are really good at it. You can practice and become good at it, but mostly it's just the people who are good at it.
And
it doesn't matter,
Yeah, this is like, so right now both of us, we're the leaders, so we're the 2 most important persons, like the whole battalion. So this goes by, let's say if you started like your freshman year you were just part of the platoon, and then your sophomore year, if you keep doing ROTC, you go up and you go up, and then you will lead the squad, you will lead the platoon, you will lead the color guard. So it's not like the same people are gonna do it all the time.
Usually, like right now, I started leading the squad. Usually by the end of the year, I'll pass on the squad to somebody else who next year will take over. And I also lead the platoon. I usually focus more on the platoon by the end of the year because that's what's like more important base. And the squad, I would pass it down to somebody who needs a little bit more experience. Inspection, when you're just learning how to talk in front of the sergeant and everything,
Yeah.
I'll pass that on to somebody else as well.
Yeah.
And if I see that nobody can really do it, then I'll take over it. But usually that's where I pass it to somebody else.
I think our inspections are like the hardest part of the whole competition because you need to be really sharp, straight, and someone's gonna ask you questions. So we need to study a lot of like who's the president of the United States, how many pounds does he weigh, like the rifle. So we need to know a lot of stuff.
Yeah, sometimes they're like really mean about it and ask you the entire book. Sometimes they just ask you what's your name and just leave.
Yeah, again, this is like a military program, so you have to be.
Yeah,
really
all
sharp.
military regulations, sharpness, everything.
So it's not just like the physical point, it's sort of mental too. Like you have to know a lot of information to be part of it. You can't just
Yes.
be able to do all the commands. You just have to know like your information too, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
you also have to be able to keep bearing, which is keep a straight face no matter what. No looking around, no shuffling your feet, no smiling if they get right in front of your face, nothing like that. Straight face all the time.
Yeah, like he's really like serious about everything. I'm a little more like, okay, we have this and that. But when we're at the competitions, I really have to like control myself. I'm another Valeria, like it's another whole thing. Like, you need to be sharp in what you're doing.
So you guys said you two are like the highest, the most important people on the team. Like what kind of role does that make you have against your fellow students? Like the kind of leadership that you have to show them?
Well, I usually leave leadership to the smaller, to like people with less rank. I divide people into groups and I talk to them. That's usually how JROTC works. I won't go and talk to like everybody. I'll talk to a certain number of people and they'll talk to their people. Usually I talk to Valeria and she talks to everybody else. But when things get a little too like chaotic, then I go and just command everybody when Valeria isn't able to handle it or they're just not listening.
So I talk to other like lower people. Let's say we have like here at the school, the principal talks to the vice principal and
Yeah,
things like that. So
The vice principals to the teachers
and then the
they
teachers
communicate
to
to the students like that.
So it's just like that. So he's the only person at the whole battalion and the two of the sergeants that can tell me something. Like if I say something to someone else, they have to listen to me. And if I have to report something, I have to tell him before doing something. So he's.
So how many like these competitions do you guys have during the year? Is it just like a couple or is it multiple?
It's multiple. This was Overbrook, then we have Pleasantville,
And November 17th,
November 17th, then we have, I think it's All City?
all city, yeah.
All City?
But we need to qualify for it.
Yeah, we have to, in Pleasantville, we have to get either first or second to qualify for All City. And All City, first or second, to qualify for brigades. After brigades, it's just nationals from there.
Yeah, brigade is like New York, and I think we have never been past that. It's our goal. We never like been into the nationals that we know.
Usually every year we make it to brigades, but we just never make it past brigades.
Yeah, brigades are really like they're all like good schools from some other states too. So from the area, like
Yeah, it's
really hard.
It's the entire state. It's not just us. It's in multiple states. They all like get the best of the best.
And again, to move on to those competitions, we have to qualify to get either first and second place.
Yes.
If not, we're just stuck there.
So you guys, you've said you've never made it past brigades. How far how close have you came to making it to nationals? Like what was the highest that you've ranked?
I mean, last year we do a color guard, so we do inspections, we do platoons, we do squads. So last year we got second place on a color guard and second place on, I think it was a squad or platoon.
I think it was a squad.
Squad, yeah.
Yes.
So out of like 10 events that we had, we only had 2 trophies, second place, so we didn't place like overall at
Yeah,
all.
like those schools they're basically robots. They're all in sync. They know what to do whenever. Especially like one school, Francis Lewis. Man,
They're really good.
yes.
So between you both, like how long have you guys been doing this? Like since freshman year?
I've been doing this since freshman year.
Yeah, I started doing it my sophomore year.
So is there anything else you guys like to add?
Well, some people think this entire thing is pretty easy, how it's sometimes boring. And it can be boring sometimes, but I can assure you it's not easy. It's easy watching people do all this drill movement and everything, But once you're in it, the sergeant's like in your face in inspection. Once everybody's eyes are on you, once you know that if you mess up, you're just gonna like the sore thumb that's gonna stick out and everything, then the pressure's really on.
Yeah, right there you just want to cry. You're like, why did I sign up for this? Sign up for this is really hard. But and like something funny that we always talk about is like when we looked at something like they messed up about something, we're like, oh, that was bad. Or when they do something really good, like, oh, that was really good. Like we find this like really attractive, and it's really good to know like now you know specifically what they're doing, what is on base. Why can't you like just salute to other person? Like why is he's saluting to him to the higher rank? It's because you know now what is it about, like everything. And we're all like a family, and you get to know a lot of people from other schools and from other areas, from the ROTC programs. It's just
Even if some of them are really like mean sometimes about them losing, they're really sore losers. Sometimes they brag way too much when they win. I think once we got second place in the other school, I think it was PMA.
PMA.
They never stopped talking about it. So the next competition, we just got first place and just destroyed them and everything. And then they just didn't say anything.
Yeah.
Perfect way to make them stop talking.
So I'd like to thank you guys for being here and congratulate you again on that first place victory. I'm Santino Carlo-Magno here with Valeria and Axel here to talk about the first place JROTC victory at Overbrook High School this past week. Back to our host.